Hi, and welcome to It's Going to Get Stupid, your favorite pop culture podcast. I'm Jose.
I'm Richard.
And we're coming at you with some hot, fresh podcasting goodness today.
You know, I just realized that I've unconsciously decided that, like, which identity I am.
What does that even mean?
Well, because, like...
Oh, because you used to Rick and Richard.
We used to do the whole Rick and Richard thing.
You mean 2 years ago? I don't know how long. It was probably like last
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
We've been doing this podcast for almost 2 years.
59 episodes ago?
Yeah. Technically 60 because we started with 0.
60 episods ago? I don't know why I'm looking like over there. Like looking in between you and the camera.
The camera's here.
I'm like wistfully looking into the distance. Yeah, no, you picked it. You picked an identity.
I did. I don't remember when that happened.
That's good. Good for you. Good for you, bro. I'm glad. You picked you settled in.
Yep.
You settled.
I did.
Way to settle. Okay, so.
Now I'm concerned that I settled.
Oh, gosh. Throwing you in a whole nother bit of chaos. Today we're going to be talking a little headier material than just who's better than, our normal, I don't know when this episode's coming out, so I can't even say what our last episode was. Point is that, this all stemmed from, I watched a movie recently.
Yeah.
A classic, if you will.
Yeah.
It had such memorable lines as, "Alrighty then," and "Do not go in there." It was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen this
childhood
movie.
favorite.
Unfortunately, it's childhood. I haven't seen this movie in a very, very long time. And what prompted me to watch this movie was the controversy surrounding it. So, recently in the news, there's all these a bunch of, they always say millennials, but just a new generation of people have seen a movie and they are outraged.
Young millennials.
They're not even
because we are millennials.
They're the new generation.
You and I are millennials.
But I'm saying they're not even millennials anymore. They're the new generation that I don't even know. Eventually, when you get to a certain age, you don't care about generations anymore. You just want your coffee hot and you want those kids
and your potatoes mashed.
And you want those kids to get off your dang lawn. That's it. That's all you want, man. And so
I want my dinner at 6, my coffee hot. I want to be in bed by 10:30.
10:30. That's insane. 9 o'clock. Get out of here. It was one of our friends. I think it was I don't know if I don't want to mention her name, but it was one of Holly's friends a long time ago.
Yeah.
And she said that she would go to bed at 9:30. And I was like, and she's a little older than us.
Yeah.
And so I just relentlessly make fun of her. I was like, you go to bed at 9:30?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Are you old? Now I'm like, I wish I could go to bed at 9:30. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually at the age she is. Anyway, point being, or the age she was when I'm talking about this. So they watched this movie. They watched Ace Ventura. And their minds were blown at the part where he finds out, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this 1996 movie from you.
Spoiler
or
alerts.
1991, whenever this movie came. When did Ace Ventura come out?
Spoiler alerts.
The alerts? Like it's multiple? There's multiple. A lot of spoilers going on in this movie. When did Ace Ventura come out?
Maybe don't let kids listen to this episode. If you have kids that listen to this episode, we're going to talk about some
Okay, warning. It came out in 1995. That's the warning. No, it's we're going to be talking about some, mature subjects.
Yeah.
Potentially. Or not. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Point is, so I watched it because there was an outrage when Ace Ventura finds out that Ray Finkle, if you've never seen Ace Ventura, I'm sorry, what is wrong with you?
Do yourself a favor and watch it.
Or don't. I don't know.
Maybe not if you have kids.
Maybe don't watch it. I don't know. It's really hard. This is what we're going to talk about. This is exactly the problem, because if I recommend this movie to people, what are they going to think of me as a person? That's the crux here, right?
Are you saying if you recommended this to our church friends?
Anybody. It's not even church friends. It's anybody now. There are certainly movies I don't recommend to my church friends. At least not all of them. There are some church friends I'm like, oh, they're cool to watching this movie, or I can recommend this. They may not like it, but I can recommend this.
Yeah.
There are some that I would never ever admit ever watching this.
Yeah.
In fact, my pastor comes up to me all the time and we talk about movies, and he'll be like, well, I shouldn't say this, but this is a movie I watched. And it's some innocuous freaking movie. But to him, he's not sure, because he might say, I like Die Hard. And everybody's pissed off because he likes Die Hard. So me, I definitely do not care about saying I like Die Hard. But there are some movies I probably don't go around saying, hey, go watch Sorority Boys. That's probably, if you've never seen that movie,
should ever see Sorority Boys.
There is a fight with a sex toy. So okay, a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Point being is that if you've never seen Ace Ventura, he's trying to find out who stole this dolphin. It doesn't even matter. The point is a guy who is now a woman
Yes.
And she's playing the detective, the lead detective on the case.
Unless she was like the captain.
So she's the police captain. So go for a woman in a high power position and a transgender woman at that. So I mean, come on, it's the Ace Ventura's a little ahead of its time.
It was ahead of its time.
And when he finds out that she is, there's a scene where he's like Finkle and Einhorn, because Finkle is the kicker and Einhorn is the captain. He's like, what is the connection here? And he can't figure out. And then finally he realizes they're the same person after he just made out with her. And and then the Crying Game song plays.
Yeah, which is also a 90s reference.
Which is also a 90s reference, which that movie is crazy. Anyway, I
maybe don't go see that one.
Maybe I probably won't recommend that one because it's not just the subject matter. It's just a weird movie, and I didn't really like it. Regardless of all that stuff. Anyway, point being is that I'm getting sidetracked here. Is that when he finds out, he goes in the bathroom and he's like dry heaving, and he gets the plunger and he puts it on his face. And
that's disgusting.
I know, it's even that's
like to put a plunger on your face to get like the grossness out of your mouth. Like that's disgusting.
He lights his clothes on fire.
Yeah,
and then he goes and takes a shower and he's in the fetal position.
Yeah.
When I watched it, it was 90, 94, 95. So what's that, like 14 years ago? 14 years ago.
Longer than that, sir.
14. Oh, it is. It's 24 years ago. When I watched it 24 years ago, I was like in my teens and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Now I was wondering, because I still laughed, by the way, just full disclosure.
But was it hilarious what he discovered, or was it hilarious that he had a plunger on his face? His reaction to the way he was emoting.
So, well, we'll figure it, because we're going to talk about that, right? Because that's an important part of this too. And then when everybody finds out that, because he turns her, it's the craziest scene, because this scene also is kind of very risque too. So when he's trying to, all the cops, they all swarm on him. He finds her and she's she's masterminding this whole thing. He finally figures it out. And she's standing there and she's like, shoot him. And he's like, no, she's a man, blah, 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 this. And nobody's like, what are you talking about? And so he goes, well, if she was a man, would she have or she's a woman, would she definitely wouldn't be missing these. And he like rips her, or he tries to take her hair off first. And then he rips her blouse open and she has boobs. And he's like, oh, well, you can get that surgery done over the weekend in Tijuana. And then he goes, but, he couldn't hide Mr. Winky, and he rips her pants off, and she doesn't have a penis. So he's like, "What is going on?" And Dan Marino, it's tucked, right?
Yeah.
And so he turns around, like, "These are bad hemorrhoids," and there's a little penis pumping out, right? The thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the kind of quality movie this was 24 years ago. But when that happens, everybody starts spitting and like it's the worst thing ever. And then the Crying Game,
because everyone's made out with her.
Because everyone's made out with her, or lusted after her, or whatever. Yeah. And then Tone Loc, who's in this movie, Loc, is like scraping his tongue like this. So I was watching the movie and I saw the outrage and I thought, is this warranting outrage? Because it is a very transgender issues are a hot button item right now.
Yeah.
And you couldn't make a movie like this today.
Not with that ending.
Poking fun of how disgusting it would be if you found out someone was actually a woman or a man or vice versa, whatever it is, right? And so it got me thinking about, because I recently also watched Porky's, which if you're not Porky's, Porky's definitely do not watch Porky's.
No, Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds, which is similar to Porky's.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's like legitimately a sexual assault scene in that movie.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting. It's disturbing. It is very disturbing to me now. When I watched it, 30 years ago, I was like 6 and it was hilariously funny. Oh, he got tricked or blah, blah, blah. But you can't make that movie nowadays.
No.
And you shouldn't make that movie nowadays. And I think that's the point.
Shouldn't make the movie ever.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, point is, my whole reason for this is, are we allowed to like these movies still?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I think from a nostalgia factor, I think they'll always hold a certain place. Like there's a lot of like memories I have of watching, Ace Ventura 100 times over a summer, which I'm sure I did. Being a stay-at-home kid during the summer, not having summer school, or like whenever I did have summer school, whatever. I was on my own, right? I mean, there was a summer where I watch The Crow and Seven like every day, which probably explains a lot. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't. So this past weekend, whenever we released this episode, I actually watched Major Payne, right? In that movie, I also watched that as a kid. It is hilarious. There's a lot of profanity in that movie. Like, I remember watching that as probably like no older than like my son is right now. And I guess like maybe I didn't grasp on the words, or maybe I had heard them enough to where I was a little desensitized to them. Mm-hmm. But I know like the way that my son's growing up and the way my daughter's growing up, I wouldn't let them watch that movie right now. Right? Like same with Ace Ventura. Same with.
Well, honestly, we have a lot more sense than our parents.
Completely valid. Mom and Dad, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. But let's be honest.
You should know. My mom's dead, so it's okay. I can say whatever I want.
And so no, I mean, I think we can still appreciate. Like, I'm choosing my words carefully.
This is. I think this is the thing. It's like you don't even feel right saying it because you're worried about. Well, if somebody like thinks that I like this or I accept. Because here's the thing, I don't agree with the message it's saying. Right. I don't think you should like, be so disgusted by a person. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Regardless.
And forget about necessarily this specific topic, because I think that's unfair to just limit it to this. But even like Revenge of the Nerds, right? That's not, it's like a despicable thing, and that should never be something. It was a different time when that happened. That's not an excuse, just a statement of fact.
Yeah.
And I think you can appreciate a film for what it was trying to do, what it was doing at the time, and still, say, I don't like this part of it. Because there's still films nowadays that I like, we pick apart movies all day long and we say, I like the film, but I didn't like this part. I think you can appreciate a movie for what it was, Ace Ventura being slapsticky, goofy, whatever, and I don't know if they were trying to say, transgender people are bad.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they were trying to say.
I don't think that's what they were going for.
He put a plunger to his mouth and he was in the fetal position and burned his clothes. I think he was just like going for shock value.
Yeah.
And to shock people.
And I don't think there's some like deep underlying message in that movie.
And to play on the crying game aspect, which people were shocked at the time with that movie.
Which was relevant to the time.
Exactly.
When the movie came
that's
out.
another thing is the relevancy of what's going on in that time.
Yeah.
So can we watch a movie or something from back then and still enjoy it and still be okay with liking it, even if we don't like parts of it now or they don't fit into our cultural relevancy? Of course.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I think there are some movies that maybe, I don't know, I haven't seen that many that I'm just like, that movie just doesn't matter. It transcends all culture. It's terrible through any culture. But there are definitely movies in the past.
I think the only movies that transcend that are the ones where that's not a point that's trying to be made in any way, like whether it's a joke or it's something that is trying to be brought out. Like the only way you can transcend those things is if you're just not talking about it, or if that's not a pivotal point in any of the character's development, right?
Yeah.
Like you can look at most like sci-fi movies, right? There's usually some sort of political meaning to it, but there's nothing that goes culturally so deep, right, that you can identify this characteristics out of this type of people or this type of person, right? It's usually more humanity versus something else, right? Or I'm just saying, like, it's not a pivotal characteristic, right? Whether in Ace Ventura that's a piece of comedy, right? That's a joke that's being made. Like, I think it stamps itself when it there's a timestamp on it, right? Yeah. Where like you have genres like sci-fi or horror that don't really timestamp themselves.
Gotcha. So it's not just in that you could look at it and be like, okay, that's relevant for today.
Yeah.
That's just a specific time.
Yeah.
And I do want to say two things. First, I want to say, if you have a question or comment about what we're talking about, Feel free to email us at itsgoingtogetstupid@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at IGTGS Show.
Join the conversation on Facebook at facebook.com/itsgoingtogetstupid. You can also get updates there to when we're going to be live and stuff like that.
You can find us on Instagram at It's Going to Get Stupid.
You can watch our live feed, which is now on YouTube, youtube.com, and then just search It's Going to Get Stupid.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to find it when we're on. Usually it's on a Sunday between the hours of 2 to 5.
Yeah. And we're trying to figure out the schedule. We sometimes, depending on our family schedules, which is obviously a priority, we'll sometimes do 2 recordings at the same time. Or you can find us, you can give us a call at 281-698-7538.
And we'll put you on the air if you call while we're recording, or we'll put you on the air if you leave a voice message.
Yeah.
And then 2, I also want to make sure I note something, because I think this is a problem when people talk about things, is they don't acknowledge one big key thing. I'm not a transgendered man or woman.
Right.
I do not know how that joke would make me feel if that was me, because that's another problem, is that these kind of jokes, they marginalize a certain number of people.
Definitely.
I'm Hispanic, half black. There are some Hispanic and black jokes that cut me to the core.
It also depends on who's making it.
Exactly. It depends on it's so many different things.
Yeah.
But I personally, I don't fault somebody if the joke is made and it's an older movie and I'm watching and I don't necessarily agree with that, and it's something against one of my, fat people, because fat people are always marginalized. Nobody cares. Anyway, black, Hispanic, because we can do something about it. I get it. Okay, internet, chill out. Okay, I understand. I'm fully aware. Homosexuals are always marginalized. There's a lot of classes that are marginalized frequently all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't correlate to some of those. So for me to say these things, I want to make sure that that's out there, that I know that I don't know how that feels.
100%.
I'm just kind of trying to want to start this conversation asking about, hey, is it okay to like these things? Or should we just kind of what the world does now and says, nope, you've done this, I'm cutting you out. And everybody needs to cut it all out of history.
I don't think we can. I do think that but I think there's conditions and there's levels to it. Right. For me, I don't know if I go this far. Okay. For me, Michael Jackson's been a very hot button topic lately, right? I'm not going to turn off the radio if I hear a Michael Jackson song. I believe that he's permeated through pop culture.
You're going to actively listen to Michael Jackson?
I'm not going to, I've never actively listened to Michael Jackson, period.
Well, that's your first mistake.
But it's just because he's not in like my top 10 or whatever. Anyways, what I'm saying is if it's on the radio, I'm not going to actively turn it off.
Would anything that you ever found out ever make you turn the radio off?
I can't 100% say no.
Okay.
Because
so there's a possibility that there's
100% a possibility, but I do believe we can't erase them from history. Now, there's a certain individual that had also some news that's come out around the same time who I don't feel has permeated through pop culture. And so like if you look
my
at
mind's telling me no,
if you
my body's telling me you're underage.
If you look at Michael Jackson, and if you remove him from history, you remove a bunch of other people's careers from history.
True.
You remove Justin Timberlake, you remove The Weeknd, you remove a lot of people who have basically have a singing career because this man existed. I'm not going to go into whether or not he did or didn't do it. I have my own opinions on that.
That'll be another podcast.
But I believe that he's been around for a long enough time to where we can't just erase his music. However, there is another individual, and I'll just go out and say it, R. Kelly.
Yeah, obviously they know who we're talking about.
All the news about R. Kelly, granted, I feel like R. Kelly hasn't reached across cultural boundaries. I don't feel like his music was ever that
culturally impactful.
Yeah. Right? Because it's party music. It's party slow jam R&B music.
Some culture will tell you differently.
And that's fine. That's an opinion. And so is what I'm saying about Michael Jackson. Yeah. It's 100% like all this is
whole
opinion.
Show is opinion, bro.
Exactly. I'm fine with removing his contribution to music from history. I'm not saying you have to.
Yeah.
But for me, like
you wouldn't sub. You'd be like, whatever. It's no big deal.
I'm okay with never listening to Remix to Ignition.
It's the Remix to Ignition.
Like I'll turn off the radio. Right, that's fine. Like I'll switch the channel.
R. Kelly, if you're listening, please stop sleeping with underage girls. terrible. Yeah, no. I get what you're saying, and I don't like erasing movies from history or saying we should never, but basically you're not allowed to like it, right? That's my thing. Is like you're not allowed to like R. Kelly music.
Yeah,
now. You're not. You shouldn't. Like if you mention I like R. Kelly music, they're like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Or if you say I like Kevin Spacey films.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you like Kevin? Oh, you shouldn't be watching that. It's Kevin's video. Blah 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 blah. It's hard. It's a difficult situation because.
Yeah.
And I could take it political and say I like this person or I don't like this person, and then people get mad because you like this or that.
Yeah.
But they never stop to ask, why do you like this? Like if I say I like this movie, oh, how do you like that movie? It has this scene in it.
Right.
Well, I like everything else in the film, and I like where it brought Jim Carrey's career, and he's an actor saying lines that someone else wrote. Maybe he wrote them, maybe he didn't.
Maybe he has
he has a choice to do that or not do it.
Yeah.
But what are some things that we compromise our morals about, and do we change as people?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into that.
I don't feel like as a society there's a yes or no answer to any of these questions. I think it's all going to come down to personal preference and what you're okay with acknowledging that you're willing to accept.
Yeah.
Right. Like
true.
Right. Like if you're gonna like if you're okay with watching Baby Driver now, like I can't watch that movie again.
I could probably watch it again. I mean, I'm so.
It was a really good movie, but knowing about the time of when it came out, and in
just him as a person, calling a younger man baby,
and just the
really
way that it's weird. I'll still watch Seven, right? Yeah. Kevin Spacey's in that movie too.
Also weird,
but he plays a great villain.
Yeah, he is a great.
That's what he is.
He is
now,
a great villain,
right? So it's all going to come down. I think it's all going to come down to personal preference about what you're okay with acknowledging that you're okay with listening to or watching.
And I think it's really easy to point fingers at something that we don't hold dear or care about until it is something we do hold. Because I want everybody right now that's listening to this, just think about their favorite actor, actress, whatever, somebody you just really hold in high regard. Will Smith, maybe, if that is you, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Will Smith, Denzel Washington, or something for me. They don't have to be black, but black ones are usually pretty good. No, there's a lot of, actors, singers, whatever it is. Just think about someone you really like. You appreciate all their work. You appreciate everything they do. Vin Diesel, The Rock for Rick. He loves The Rock.
I do.
And just think about if something happened to them, and it was true. It's not false. It's true. Something happened. They made a mistake. They did something really bad. Not just a simple mistake like involving kids or something. Just bad, terrible, terrible thing. Would you want to just let go of all that they've done? Because you care about it. It's easy to point something and say, well, I don't like that anyway, so why should anybody else like it?
Yeah.
And it is not an easy yes or no question. And it is personal preference. But that shouldn't say anything about the person, right? Because we all like me, I don't like animals. So if I found someone just I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say it because
but I get what you're saying. Like,
are you sure you don't want me to say it?
No, I'm sure I don't want you to say it. I 100% get what you're saying because the severity of the action is going to be different from you based off of the person and their upbringing. I mean, it kind of goes back to like how you were brought up as a kid. You and I had kind of similar upbringings. Mm-hmm. When we hear about some of our peers, what they've gone through as children, it's very easy for us to trivialize those experiences because we have our own perspective, right? And even like going to high school and college age around the same time, so closely together. When some of the people that we know are saying like, this is what I was doing when I was in college or whatever.
That's nice. Good job.
Great. Yeah. Bravo.
But some of it is impactful. And I've learned through age is like, look, that meant something to that person.
Yeah.
It doesn't detract because it didn't mean as much to me.
100%.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's real to them. And so that's what it is. It's like, we should be more forgiving of people, not the people that did these acts,
right? But
people that still enjoy the music or the whatever it is. We should be more forgiving, give a lot of grace to those people because who knows what, like think about, okay, let's take Ace Ventura, for example. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just say I watched Ace Ventura when I was younger and it made me want to do comedy. Right. And so then I did comedy and man, I fulfilled dreams and I did stuff and that really propelled my career. Right. And now you're telling me that what I based my life on was not good. And I'm a terrible person if I like it.
Yeah.
it's it's not exactly the same, but think about that. Like, or maybe it got me out of depression or something like that. Like, it really helped me. It helped me. And that's why I like it. Not because it has this one scene or these two scenes at the very end that are derogatory.
Right.
And again, of course it doesn't hit me because I'm not the person that's marginalized or making fun of.
100%.
So definitely doesn't mean that. But if that's you and it means that to you, don't watch it anymore.
But there's sometimes when like a Hispanic joke is made or a black joke is made where those affect you, right? Because that is something that we deal with.
And again, it depends on who's making the joke.
Or
right?
for, Jose and I are both Christians. When we hear derogatory comments about the Christian faith, depending on who that's coming from, if it's coming from another Christian, we can see that as a matter of time to take a look at our perspective and to look inward to see if that is something that we need to actually deal with or if that's something that we're struggling with, right? When it comes from someone who doesn't agree with our faith, and this goes also to any other faith, right? You can feel marginalized. You can feel like you're being attacked. And this goes for different faiths, different lifestyles, any of those things. When you don't put yourself in that other person's shoes, you don't realize the severity of what you're saying, or the importance of what you're saying.
And I guess the whole point of this, after talking through this, is what we need to do as a society in general is just talk to each other, and not just make quick judgments or quick statements and say, I'm going to write a blog about. I'm going to write a
It's
blog.
very easy for us.
Anymore.
It's very easy for us to get our soapboxes out and start stacking them up. To put a video YouTube reaction, and try to get as much likes as you can. I mean, that's what our current culture is all about, right? Is about how to monetize it.
But legit, don't ever watch Borges.
But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, we need to take a step back. We need to stop attacking each other. We need to be aware of the things that are happening in the news and pop culture, things like that, and how that's affecting us and what kind of message that's saying throughout as we start to absorb them, right? As we start to consume these pieces of media.
And if it's the way it is now and it's just going to get worse, I think about my children, how you're going to be because like right now, Rick was trying to articulate how he feels about things. And he was like, I think in my head, who am I going to offend?
Right.
Or what am I going to say that's going to really turn someone away when, I mean, these are just thoughts we have, and sometimes we're sitting here in front of a microphone just saying stuff. Sometimes it's not planned out all the time, and so what I'm saying might not sound the right way because I'm just saying it into a microphone. There's no dialogue here other than me and Rick talking, but there's no dialogue with this person. So for people to get mad about other people or what they're doing is dumb, and you take time to like talk to somebody or don't get mad about it. Number one, that's like legit.
But let's just have a conversation.
Yeah, let's have a conversation about it. Yeah. Have a conversation, people. And if you want to have a conversation, you could email us at itsgoingtogetstupid@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at IGTGS Show.
You could join that Facebook conversation, that sweet Facebook conversation at facebook.com/itsgoingtogetstupid.
You can tag us in photos of you yelling at our YouTube videos on Instagram at It's Going to Get Stupid.
Speaking of YouTube, you can go to YouTube and type in It's Going to Get Stupid in your search bar and find some of the old videos we have and also watch live videos on Sundays between 1, 2, and 5.
And leave us a voicemail at 281-698-7538.
I will say that if you go watch the videos, you will see extra things that we don't show or we don't talk about because it's before the podcast.
Well, if you watch them live, I do edit a little bit of the videos out.
That's good. Yeah. Watch them live because you'll see everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You even get to see me yawn to start the show.
You get to see the infamous yawn.
Infamous.
And infamous.
So,
Vanis.
Are we going to talk about a trailer?
And Giannis. We could do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a trailer. Let's switch gears here.
Yeah. A little bit lighter subject. Maybe just no.
No, probably not lighter at all. Actually, it's probably just as contentious.
So a little teaser came out this week.
And we were just talking about this like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
When this is going to drop?
Episode 9.
I covered my mouth so I could.
Episode 9, Rise of the Skywalker.
Oh, the stupidest title ever.
Not a fan. This teaser,
really good.
I'm 100% hooked on.
So I was showing Rick when I was watching the teaser right now. If you go back and watch one of the original Force Awakens trailers, because this teaser starts out in the desert.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Jakku. I don't think it is, but it starts out with Rey in the desert breathing heavily. Okay.
Yeah.
there's a teaser. There's another trailer. I want to say it was the first teaser that came out for Force Awakens, and it has Finn breathing heavily in the desert.
Yeah.
Coincidence? Probably. But I think not.
So we'll put the trailer in the show notes, and let's just pick out.
Let me do that now before I forget.
Let's just pick out some of the key moments in this trailer, because there's a lot to go over, and I think we'll butcher it if we try to do scene for scene reaction to it. So the first thing that came to my mind is the trailer opens with Rey in the desert.
I feel like I just said this.
You did. In some sort of like training stance, and you start to see her get ready, and then you see what seems to be Kylo Ren's TIE fighter start to get really low to the ground and start speeding towards her. Do you want me to say what my initial reaction to that was?
Yes, please.
I think he's training her.
No, again, that's what you said last time.
Yeah.
That is exactly what you said last time.
I think he's training her.
BS. He's not training her.
I think he's training her.
No, because the look on her...
I think they're on a remote planet.
The look on her face...
started having rendezvous meetings.
Do you think they're going to have a baby and that's why it's called Rise of Skywalker?
No, because...
you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Okay?
I think they're both going to die.
No, this is exactly what's going to happen, y'all. Rise of Skywalker, okay? They're going to have a baby. The movie's going to jump into the future, and it's going to be the Skywalker baby.
I don't think so, because that would just continue the Skywalker storyline. And according to everybody, this ends the Skywalker storyline.
Well,
so I don't think
that would mean Kylo has to die.
That's I think they're both going to die.
Well, Rey is not a Skywalker.
We don't know that.
She's definitely not a Skywalker.
We don't know that.
It would be really weird that they're like macking on each other.
Maybe they're
cousins. It would be really weird they're macking on each other. It's like a Game of Thrones thing. If you never, Rick doesn't watch Game of Thrones, but currently
I get the reference.
You get the reference?
I get the reference.
I'm just making sure it's a Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah. Anyways, I do think
it's your aunt, man.
I do think that they're training.
No, they're not. Definitely not training. That's what you said. You know what? Now I remember what you said that about Frozen 2. She's training.
I 100%.
Why is everyone training?
Because they're getting ready
not training
for the big battle.
They're not. They're not trained. They're definitely not training. It's a fight. I think she kills him, and I bet that's actually the scene where she kills him, and they're just showing it to us because they're jerks. No, it's a really cool trailer actually. There's some Chewbacca with Lando.
Yeah, there's some Lando.
Lando got his ship back over Han's dead body,
and it's been upgraded. There's some new satellites on it.
There, because you can never go wrong with more satellites.
Nope.
Dude, she's gonna slice that thing in half.
There is a fallen Death Star.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. So it's the remains of the Death Star. Death Star 2.
Kylo punches somebody. He fixes his helmet for some odd reason.
He welds it back together with his lightsaber.
Thing. Let's see. Lando. He does weld it with his lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. The saga comes to an end. Cool. There's another pod racing scene, it looks like.
Yep.
I don't know what it is.
And then I think the biggest reveal at the end of this trailer is we get a Palpatine laugh.
Yeah, Palpatine laugh.
Yeah.
Man.
Which... So, I was a little thrown off on that at first, but then I watched some commentary on this, and what's interesting is if Palpatine is there in any form or fashion, which I'm assuming he is because they injected the laugh. So we had Snoke as our villain for the first two movies, which kind of seemed like a bait and switch, right? Because Snoke was killed off in The Last Jedi. Right.
Yeah, no, he was a villain for 2 movies. It's no big.
But he wasn't the big bad in this chapter of it, or in this trilogy, right? In this part of the saga.
You think it's Palpatine?
So it's I think it's Palpatine
the whole time
in one form or another, and that will be the glue.
Wait, was Palpatine Snoke?
And no, I think from what I've heard, one theory is that he was controlling Snoke, like kind of like puppet mastering.
So he was Snoke, bro.
But then he will be the glue that connects the prequel, the original, and this last trilogy together.
Because he's been there the whole time.
He's been the villain the entire time.
Even when he died.
Yep.
I guess.
When they ended the last Star Wars cartoon, Yoda has a forced conversation with Darth Bane. Because up to now, we've never seen Sith Force ghosts.
Yes.
Right. We in the movies, we've never seen it. But in the cartoon, they do show that instead of being blue and glowing, the Sith ghosts they look like they're made of cinders, right? And so Yoda has
really?
Yoda has a conversation with him, and so we might see Palpatine as a Sith Force ghost or whatever they're calling themselves now.
I'm watching this right now because
Yeah.
I want to see this Sith thing. Yeah, no, but it was a really cool, really cool teaser. I hope they don't.
I'm 100% on board with it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but I like Last Jedi. I know that was very,
it was a very divisive movie.
very divisive. I think this is going to bring people back.
I think it will. I think for the people who didn't like The Last Jedi, you just need to get over it. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. It was a good movie. It was fun. This whole thing happens. It's science fiction.
It happens in space, bro. They have
Happens in space.
Space knights with the
They
sabers
use
of light.
laser swords. They can they can fly at hyperspace, go through hyperspace. There's giant talking animals and little talking animals. Who cares? It was a good movie. It was fun to watch. Some of the best lightsaber duels we've had
without lights, a bunch of lightsabers.
without everyone having lightsabers. So it was a great movie. Get over it. It was fun. Let's enjoy it. Last Jedi was good.
Last Jedi was good, and the the teaser looks amazing.
It really does.
I can't wait.
Outside of this title.
Yeah, the title's so stupid.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
So cool. Go see it when it comes out. Well, I'll be excited. Rick, what was the last movie you watched?
So did I talk about Major Payne already? You know what? We're going to talk. I watched Major Payne last night. It was fun. It was enjoyable. Don't let your kids watch it. There's so much profanity in this movie. I completely forgot about. And there's some terrifying versions of like the little engine that could in this movie that has to do with war when he's telling one of the kids to go to sleep. The other movie I saw, and Jose's already talked about this, but it was months ago, Robin Hood. This movie was garbage. This movie was hot garbage. I fell asleep through probably some of the bigger action scenes in it. It made no sense. And when you're dealing with a movie that their primary weapon is bow and arrow, why didn't anybody have a sword? First of all,
I think he did.
Did
I want to say I saw.
No,
a sword.
I saw some knives, but never any like actual swords. Why did this movie have to look like Saving Private Ryan? Don't know. Like there's one scene in it where you could probably replace the bow and arrows with rifles from like the World War II era, and it would be the exact same thing.
There was, I mean, literally they were in the rotunda, and I said this last time, and then like the bolts were hitting, they slowed it down. Like Zack Snyder made this movie for some reason, and it was hitting the pillars, and there was just splinters of like plaster going everywhere, and it looked like someone had taken a machine gun and was
they were going through like little apartment type houses, just like in Saving Private Ryan. I mean, and there was even a knife fight that almost ended the exact same way.
See, they had a knife. And the way they were holding their bows, I think somebody said that's how they do it. I'm like, there's no freaking way. There's no way. If you can shoot, think about it. If you can shoot your bow that fast, why are you holding your bow like that? And why didn't they just all give them crossbows then? I was dumb.
Anyways,
it was so weird.
I'm gonna say, don't go see this movie. Don't rent it.
They've already seen it.
I don't know. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they haven't.
Don't even waste your time.
It just came out for rental on video
on demand. Don't
waste
any of your time watching this movie.
Don't rent it. Don't watch it. I wish I could get my money back. I probably still can. What was the last thing you saw, Jose?
You don't want to talk about it anymore?
No.
Okay. Don't even waste any breath.
That's all I got.
Dumb movie. The last movie I saw was Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
So, first off, I want to say the book Pet Cemetery by Stephen King, one of the scariest books I've ever read in my life.
Yeah.
I remember reading it. I was probably like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Maybe 12 or 13. And I had my back toward the door in my room.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I was reading my book like that, because it freaked me out.
Yeah.
It always freaked me out. I'd be scared, like shivering, reading this book. It's a very scary book. Then I watched the movie when it came out in 92, I think it was. I think I'd already seen the movie actually before I read the book, and that movie was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It was pretty creepy. This movie wasn't as scary to me.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a scary movie. It was kind of like it. It wasn't that scary. It was creepy. It was pretty, but not scary.
It was like a psychopath with supernatural powers.
Yeah. So if you've never seen Pet Cemetery, the basic premise is people move to this remote town in Maine because Stephen King grew up in Maine, so everything
Everything happens in Maine.
But it's not dairy this time. But they do show the dairy sign, which is pretty cool. Anyway, they moved to this remote place, and they have all this acreage, and in the back of their land is a pet cemetery. And all these creepy kids are burying pets there, and the cat they have dies, and they go to bury it. Their neighbor, who has taken a liking to the family and likes their daughter, and it's the daughter's cat, John Lithgow. He says, look, let's go bury the cat a little further to this one place. It's just really, like, that whole thing was so weird, him taking him to this really long, it's like, why can't we just bury the cat here? And he's like, no, we're going to go over here and bury it. And it's like you have to climb up this wall of, like, sticks and, like, wood, and then you go into a swamp, and you go really far to this place that's above, and it's in the woods like crazy. And I'm just like, I wouldn't do this. Like, if I was this dad, I'd be like, dude, I don't know where we're going. Can we just bury the cat here? This is taking way too long.
Yeah.
Like, it's so impatient. But he goes and quietly does it. Buries the cat. Cat comes back to life. Okay. The next day. And because they go to tell the girl, I don't want to.
This is in the pet cemetery.
Yeah. No. This is outside the pet cemetery.
Okay.
So the pet cemetery is actually not the place where things come back to life.
But isn't that what happened in the book? Like, they buried it in the pet cemetery?
No, it's always past.
Okay.
Because, basically the premise of these lands are like ancient Indian land, Native American lands. I want to be politically correct here. Native American lands. And there's this one special place where if you bury something, it comes back to life. But there's a lot of supernatural stuff going on, which they didn't hit on a lot in the movie, which I was disappointed in because they talk about a lot in the book. I thought it was really cool and spooky. They kind of talk about it a little bit, but they didn't. And they're mostly going for these jump scares, which it is not as bad, you know. And the key difference, and I don't want to talk about this movie anymore because I don't want to spoil it. I want people to go see it. The key difference is, obviously, they bring someone back to life. Yeah. Okay. They bring a person back to life.
Was the story.
In the book, it was the little boy they brought back to life. In the movie, it's the 9-year-old girl. Yeah. And I will say that her parts are super creepy because I have so many daughters.
Feel a little too close to home.
Yeah, a little close to home. But she did she did really well acting in this. Sometimes her character was kind of flat. And there was not too much. There was a few lulls, but not too much. And it really kept me on the edge of my seat, like what's going to happen. Yeah. And the ending was different too. So if you ever watched the book, I read the book and watched the movie, the ending is not the same. I thought it was done really well. Okay. Still, actually. Just gave a different spin. Okay. It's really good. And there were some jumpy parts. Yeah. Not scary, but jumpy.
I'm not a huge horror fan, so I don't know if I'll see it.
But if you like Pet Cemetery, I guess. I mean, Stephen King's stuff is always really good, and it's not typical horror, but this is more horror-ish than it. Horror-ish than it. Yeah. I will say that when I went to go see this movie I saw it last night at 10:30 at night, and when I walked into the theater, I was the only person in the theater. That was creepy. Yeah. And then, so I don't like the Conjuring universe. This is another thing I wanted to talk about last episode, but I forgot this whole universe thing. Yeah. So The Conjuring is a universe now where everything's all connected. There's a new movie coming out called Annabelle Comes Home.
No, there's even another one.
There's another one?
Yeah.
What? There's another one?
Yeah, but go ahead and talk about
What's the other one?
The La Llorona.
That's not the Conjuring universe,
yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh, man. Why? Because the Nun is also the Conjuring universe. Yeah. So, yeah. But don't they call it the Weeping Woman now? Because people are like, I don't know Spanish. Yeah. Anyway.
Maybe they did.
So anyway, this is called Annabelle Comes Home. Yeah. The doll Annabelle freaks me out. Yeah. Okay. I just seeing it on the screen, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. I wanted to leave the theater. And it was so funny because they had one movie that they showed, and I think it was like, I don't remember what it was. And they showed that trailer, and I was like, this is creepy. And then they showed like a lighthearted, fun movie, and I was like, what's the trailer distribution here? I also saw the trailer for Brightburn on the screen.
That movie
looks amazing.
It does.
Dang, that movie looks amazing.
We haven't talked about that on the show.
I don't even want to talk about it until I watch it, because that movie looks so good.
It really does.
Looks so good. So anyway, I like Pet Cemetery. I don't know if I'd go see it in the theater because I generally don't watch a lot of horror. Yeah. I have because I have this movie pass, but I would never pay money to see a horror because it's so hit or miss. Because I saw Happy Death Day to You, and I saw that other stupid. Oh man, I saw that dumb movie, The Haunting, whatever, the one where she's in the morgue, and it's like the dead girl comes back to life. It's the Exorcist. It's an exorcism movie. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. It's the worst movie ever.
Yeah.
Not even, but it's pretty bad. So I don't like watching horror movies because they seem like a waste to me.
Yeah.
But Pet Cemetery was good. I think
Fair
people
enough.
like it. Yeah. Especially if you like the book and the movie. I think they didn't change too much where it was like, terrible.
Yeah.
And what they changed, I thought, brought new life to the movie, the story actually. So
All right.
go check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have seen Pet Cemetery and want to give us your thoughts, or if you watched Robin Hood and you want to talk about it, I will instantly delete your email because I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No.
It's going to get stupid at gmail.com.
You can tweet us at IGTGS Show.
You join the conversation on Facebook, facebook.com/it's going to get stupid.
You can find us on Instagram at It's Going to Get Stupid.
If you want to watch this episode on YouTube, go to YouTube, type in It's Going to Get Stupid in the search bar, and you will find this episode. And you can catch us live on Sundays.
Or you can leave us a voicemail. That is not my sassy wife leaving us voicemails. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the air at 281-698-7538.
And always remember, Einhorn is a man.